Ooh, we're back, baby. Horns up, talking Texas podcast. Fisher DeSopoulos, the Quan Cosby, and the Eric Metcalf. Get your horns up, cuz here we go. Back on ESPN 102.7 Austin. I felt like it snuck up on us. We prepped, we did shows, didn't matter. Out of nowhere, the season is here, fellas. Biggest game, biggest opener we've seen in God knows how long. Toss was talking about it pre-show before we started recording. This is a massive one. It's a rematch. 3 of the 4 of us are heading to Columbus for the game to hopefully watch our team. It's early. You guys can't see it. The listeners can only hear it. But in this big old cup of mine, I got some nice Kool-Aid I'm drinking as we head to Columbus to take on the defending national champions. I do want to, before we get into predictions, key matchups, ways we will win, and obviously we don't want to be too much of a homer of a show, like ways in which they can get it done to kind of be aware of both sides of the coin. I want to ask you and Quan, you and Metcalf something, but Quan, you first, because you have since the beginning of time of this show, Texas has a target on their backs, but apparently not so much anymore, as our QB1 said, the target's not on our back. We have a red dot on everyone else. So as former players, as former top tier skill position guys, how does it feel hearing your QB1 come out and say a quote like that?
Oh, man, we've been waiting for that for a minute. And what's wild about it, during our run in 05, and we always know that when you're Texas, people hate you. They with burn orange, there's only one color, the million reasons, biggest brand. But our theme that year was take that aim. And so the irony, I mean, the craziness about that is when I heard him say that, I was like, oh, I like the way that sounded, because that's what it was. Instead of going, oh, Lord, we're going to get their best, hit them in the mouth. Hey, we're the ones, be the aggressor, go after them. And of course, Sark is always that way. I mean, he's a beast. There have been times I'm like, all right, kick the field goal. Sark like, nah, the data doesn't support that. And I'm like, come on, fam. But no, really, man, I think it's huge. I think it's the leadership people are talking about. I think there's no better person, because ultimately you got Sark and the trickle down for him. But when you're when you're between the lines, all Sark can do is call a play. But if you're a guy from an offensive standpoint, like, nah, I know, they're going to come after us, but we're going to go after them too. So no, man, I love it. I promise you that I love it. And it is very parallel to the 05 run we had, where it was take, dead, aim. And so putting a dot on them, going after them, understanding that that's not disrespect, that's not dismissing what people do and how they play versus Texas, but it's also countering with, sure, we have a dot, they're coming after us, but we're doing the same. So I'm all in, and I'm all for it. As a matter of fact, Josh, you always have that Kool-Aid. After hearing that, I may have swan dove in it myself, because I like the way it sounds.
He didn't say that because that was the first time it came out of someone's mouth. That. Like you said, Sark said that. That has been said since day one. And so I like the fact that they're taking the pressure off these guys, but they're also letting these players know, and the fan base, that we haven't accomplished anything yet. Yeah. And so for people to be coming after us, to be hunting us, why are they hunting us? We haven't done anything yet. We are hunting others because we're trying to accomplish something. And I think that's what Arch is saying. I think that's what Sark has passed down to these players, that we've been to the playoffs the last couple of years, but we still haven't gotten the big one. We want the big one, and then that's when we've accomplished something. We're going to get this accomplished. So in order to get there, we're going to hunt everybody until we achieve that goal.
Well, and I take that back. The last two last year wasn't opening, but we're playing the defending national champions. I mean, how are you hunting us when y'all won it? We're right. Going to try to get what y'all got. And y'all beat us in that playoff game we talk about. And so I love that concept, Metcalf, because, yeah, sure, we've had some good years, but we haven't reached our goals.
All right.
There was something, I saw a clip of Caleb Downs talking with his brother about after they won last year. there was something that Coach Day said almost to himself, but he was like, I've finally gotten there, right? I finally gotten to the mountaintop. And I think what Caleb Downs said was Ryan Day said something to the effect of this was my birthright. And I was like, whoa, that's some bulletin board material right there. This, like you said, Metcalf, they went and did what they had to do. Last year, Day was on the hot seat. They lose again to Michigan, but they're able to, with the college football playoff and the expansion, get to the playoff and do what they did. It's interesting because I think in certain ways, our team this year parallels what that team achieved last year for the Buckeyes. But in other ways, it's very, very different because the way that, and what we talked about last show, the way that people are talking about Sark right now, yes, there's pressure on him to get to the next level, to win it all, to win a national championship. But he has a very comfortable position as the head coach for the Texas Longhorns right now.
Right.
But that's why this game is so important to us is sure, hypothetically, in the way that the new format works, we could lose this game and still make the playoffs, still win the SEC championship, and still get to the national championship and win that. But I think we need to win this game, though. We need to, because really from a recruiting cycle standpoint, from everything that we're trying to build structurally for this program, this is the year. Not that we overperformed last year. We felt really confident that our team could be a contender, but it was building to this year. And we have the continuity from the coordinators, the play callers, all the different coaches that are still in the building who have developed, recruited, and brought so many of these guys. We're so deep and we have so much veteran presence on the defensive side of the football. That's why this feels like it should be our time. And with that week 1 matchup against Ohio State, 2 top 4 teams, you got to go in there and you got to make a statement for the rest of the nation to show that we belong. We know we belong, but with all these other programs at the top, with Georgia and with Ohio State and with Alabama recently. I mean, and I know Kalen DeBoer is a whole different beast, but this is important. This matchup is very, very important for those.
This seems eerily close to 04-05 season.
Yeah.
I played Michigan in the Rose Bowl, felt good about that year winning it, but knew that was something that was going to propel us to the next year. And so I feel like, although we went to the playoffs the last 2 years, last year felt like we should have gotten it done, but we didn't, but got us ready for this year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And before we go into the breakdowns, I will say kind of off your point, Toss, entering that upper, yes, getting the ring, getting the natty is pivotal, but I want to be in a position where we almost feel inevitable and automatic. Maybe not this year or even last year, but in the peak Kirby days and obviously the peak Saban days, and there were a couple other teams like that, but really those 2 teams was what you're kind of trying to achieve, and especially in the SEC. They felt didn't matter where it was, who it was, they're going to come in there and they're inevitable and they're automatic. And I want to get into a place. And I think this statement of a game, if we could come in there, go to the defending national champions, that means, yes, back-to-back years, we've beaten the defending national champions, both on the road, right? We're becoming a team that's in a program that's kind of automatic. Metcalf, will start with you this time, Q, and then Toss and I will close, and then we'll go back in that rotation. What's the key for the Longhorns? How do the Texas Longhorns, if you could simplify it, win this game?
Be physical. I think they can be physical. I mean, because this, in years past, going into games like this, everybody has looked at Texas as the less physical team going into games like this, even against Oklahoma, playing the Georgias or the Bamas in previous years. We had very good players who can come out there and perform well, but nobody ever thought they were physical. And I think you can go into the shoe and be physical with this team. You can get it done because I'm not really worried about Sark play calling. I'm not really worried about us having enough athletes on both sides of the field. I'm worried about who goes in there and punches somebody in the mouth, because that's what's going to have to happen. It's going to be loud and hostile in there with all these crazy Ohio fans, but you have to be able to quiet them down. I think our players will be physical on both sides of the ball. and that will help to get it done. Because like I said, I'm not worried about Sark calling plays. I know we have athletes and players who can make plays in the situations, and we'll get it done. It's just about when you have to be physical, maybe a 4th and 1 on each side of the ball. You might have to stop one. You might need to run for one, but you have to be physical in the trenches at the point.
Mm-hmm. Toss.
Yeah, to me, it's RTDB. Run the damn ball. Win the running matchup, and especially in their weakest position on their defensive line right now is the interior of the defensive line. Ryan Day said that 5 different guys are going to play. Okay, to me, that means that's a matchup that we can exploit. He wants to rotate in fresh guys, maybe because he doesn't think that he has, Alfred Collins and Vernon Broughton and Beast up in the middle like we know we've had in past. And I think they have great edge rushers, the Ohio State Buckeyes. Both those guys were on the team last year. Another guy they added as a transfer is going to be a contributor. We have Trey Wisner. We have CJ Baxter. Let's run the ball between the A and the B gap and really make them pay with that physicality like Metcalf is talking about. What I'm recalling now is how Wisner dictated the game against Texas A&M at Kyle Field last year. And that was not something that we had really seen with Sark's approach to offensive play calling, but I know it's what he wants to do. And now I think he has the personnel to actually do that. Also, our seniority on the offensive line comes in the interior, right? At the center position, at the right guard, at our backup right guard. And he's going to rotate in. That's where I trust our guys. And we've got Gooseby, who's, he has a hand injury at the left tackle position. We've got a guy who's never played, he's never played in a big game, never played a college football game at the right tackle position in Brandon Baker. So trust the interior of the offensive line and run the football and really, really make them pay there. And that'll open up everything. Like Arch has so many traits to at his disposal. And I was watching all of his plays and his tape just to remind myself what he can do. As soon as someone goes out into the flat, it takes so much attention on those linebackers because they have to make a choice, right? Do they stay or are they spying and are they paying attention to Arch who can use his legs? And I think we need to see some design runs as well. Everything that I'm talking about with Baxter and with Wisner, it doesn't have to be 5, 6, but maybe 2 or 3 QB powers or design runs for Arch to keep them off balance a little bit. That's part of his toolbox. And I know he needs to stay healthy the entire season, but this is the type of team that we need to unveil that against. And I'd like to see him take it up the gut, whether it's in the red zone or otherwise, and use his big frame and make him pay too. So I think it's about running the football, and I think it's about winning that battle in the interior of our offensive line, their defensive line, and just making them pay.
That sounds kind of physical to me.
I think so.
I was about to say, I'm going to take both of your guys' running the ball, physicality. I look at this team and how Texas is going to win it. Obviously, so much is on the offense with Sark and Arch. We've talked about this. That's the narrative. But being physical defensively with their receivers, massively important. On the line, massively important. Running the ball, massively important. And all of that kind of combines to my point in really making sure Julian Sayin, the redshirt freshman quarterback for the Ohio State Buckeyes, is very uncomfortable this entire game. I think we all believe and understand and are cognizant and not foolish enough to know that Ryan Day could have gotten anybody. Realistically, they could have gone in the portal, thrown money at anybody. They did it last year, grabbed Will Howard, no problem. Kyle McCord wasn't working out. Great, we're bringing in Will Howard. They could have gone in the portal, thrown anybody, any money. Like John Mateer, who went to OU, could have gotten him. Could have gotten Carson back. I think that they think, and I think we should be cognizant of the fact that this guy might be the next guy for them in a big way. And he's a really talented player. But it's his first start. It's his first start at the college level. He has experience as a college quarterback. He's a redshirt, but it's his first start at the college level. Huge game. Yes, they're at home, but they're playing the number one team, arguably a team that could be the best defense in the nation, best defense at least in the SEC. and making sure not only is his pocket dirty and we're putting a lot of pressure on him, but being physical and running the ball and eating up that clock so he can't get into any kind of rhythm dealing and passing, and maybe put him in a position where he doesn't have a lot of time. They're down more than a little bit than they want to be. And that goes back to closing in the red zone, right? And the pressure's on him, and he's kind of swinging from his heels and playing from his heels. So making Julian Sain's life really tough and making everything super uncomfortable for the young quarterback, I think is going to be paramount to this team really getting it done, and going into Columbus and beating this Ohio State team.
Yeah, I mean that right there. If you make him uncomfortable, it makes it a lot easier on everyone.
Yeah,
because that means Jeremiah Smith's not running around there free, right? He's having to break off routes. He's not just beating DBs at the point and making plays. If you make Julian Sam uncomfortable, everybody's uncomfortable, and that then changes the landscape of how each play works out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Especially we mitigate their run game, and we cleanly tackle at the point of attack every single opportunity that we get, and he's playing behind the sticks, especially early in the game. Then he'll be forced to play back on his heels, like you're talking about, Josh, and that puts us in a very advantageous position. And to me, like, that's kind of the distinction between my confidence in picking the Horns, especially if I'm trying to look at this objectively. It has to do with trusting that Arch has been in those moments, and that also Steve Sarkisian, like everybody talks about, he's one of the best offensive-minded head coaches in college football. Do you not think that this guy, for the last 2 years, even before Arch fully committed, he's been thinking about what he can do with this guy? I'm serious. Like, everybody's saying, oh, he started against ULM last year, or he comes into the UTSA game. He didn't start that game, but he played damn near all of it. Steve Sarkisian has been thinking about what he can do with Archman. I'm not saying it's always been like top of mind. He obviously is very much like, let's play who we're playing in front of us. Quinn Ewers is my quarterback. That's obviously who I'm dictating an offense for. But in the back of his mind, I don't think he can help himself. He's like, what are all the different things that I can do with Arch Manning? And I think from that standpoint, like, we have an advantage at the quarterback position over the Buckeyes in this game. And I think, again, like you're saying, if we can make Sain uncomfortable, if he ends up throwing for 370 yards in the air and Jeremiah Smith ends up having 150, like, then Julian Sain beat us. But like, I don't, that Brian Hartline, new offensive coordinator, like, they're not going to roll him out and let him just sling this thing across the middle of the field right from the jump. I'd be highly shocked, because they know that we're that talented of a team and they have to respect what we're bringing on the other side. So I don't know. Q, who's got the advantage at the quarterback position? Are you with me here on this? Arch? Yeah.
That's not even close. I mean, again, and everybody says, oh, Arch hasn't started enough, but he has started enough. And he started more than his opponent. And so in the shoe, big time game. Arch actually played in the game last year. And again, he got a big first down for us and got a little banged up, but he played in the game last year. So this moment won't be too big. It just won't. And if you talk about Sark in these moments, I go back to a few years in Tuscaloosa. You go back to, Michigan last year. It's like, it's funny because it's like we play a massive game on the road
every
for the
year.
last 3 to 4 years, especially in Sark's era. So these guys, they're kind of used to it. Now, I will say DKR is on fire. It's rocking. But there was a time where it was a little sleepy, and we loved to go on the road because we knew we were going to be hated. You knew it was going to be crazy. You're going to be repping those icy whites. I mean, it's just, it really is. It's just a different mindset. And you go back to most of the guys, as crazy as it sounds, because they're sophomores and juniors on our team, but they have more experience across the board. And truly playing games. Colin Simmons is a sophomore, but my man came in, he had 9 sacks, and when he came in, he was a force to be reckoned with. So I think across the board, starting with the quarterback, starting with Arch Manning, who just, he is that dude. He got that about him. And then just going down the list of in the running game. Linemen, like we said, they're the newest of all, but I think we win across the board when it comes to true experience with how much Ohio State lost.
Yeah, we haven't lost a road game since 2022. We're 11-0 since I think an October game against Oklahoma State where they came back on us late in the game and beat us.
Yeah.
True road games. So
Mhm.
there's something about how Coach Sark prepares his team and how these guys buy in where they really do aim that target on the other team when they go on the road. And that's why I feel complete comfort in knowing that we're not going to get in over our skis just because we're playing in the shoe. There's nothing that we've seen in the last 3 years that's shown us that should be the case.
You know, a lot of times for an athlete, being uncomfortable is what makes you comfortable.
Right.
Mhm.
You know, so like you said, we haven't lost on the road, and what he's doing to prepare these guys, it's like, but these guys are going into these situations knowing that they're hated, knowing that they've been underdogs, knowing that they're expecting the team to run over them. They know this. And so going in there, your mindset is different. You go in there to play. I have to play to win. I have to beat my man every play. And if every guy beats their man every play, you probably should win. If each man beats his man every play, you probably should win those games, whether it be on offense or defense. So I think these guys, the mindset of these guys have changed over the course of the years. Prior to Sark, we didn't feel like that about our guys and going into place and just we can still win games. We just felt like we're going to show up and hope we win games. Now they know they can win games, regardless of where they're at and who they're playing.
And then you think about Smith, because clearly he is arguably the best. I mean, he won the Biletnikoff. And until someone dethroned him, he is the best receiver in the league. And we held him to one catch. We held him to one catch with the other weapons they had. I mean, the running back room was loaded. The receivers room, and it's still really good, but it was loaded. Tight end, you name it. A veteran quarterback. And so Hartline, who was a part of that game, he's sitting there going, all right, let me see what they did, and let me see if I can do anything about it without a full chamber. Because that's what they had. They had one of the most veteran teams last year. There was NFL dudes in every freaking lane, every position. And so that's the things that, again, that those little things like that. Now, again, that's why, by the way, everybody talk about them potentially moving that game to Sunday. And they talk about, they want it at a night game in the shoe. Yes, they did want that. But you know what else they would have gotten if you did that? Is another day to prepare, because they are so inexperienced. That's the part I thought about. I was like, no, I know 11 o'clock game for a game that big. Everybody's not a fan of it. But I'm like, no, don't give them an extra day. Make them do less in camp so they can start preparing. And so those little things like that, I was like, oh, yeah. Everybody think it's only about that night game at the shoe, which is a big deal for them. But no, it was also about an extra day to figure out who their quarterback was going to be, to get more reps with each other. And we, of course, declined. Kudos to CDC for saying, nah, we good. We're going to be ready, because we know who our quarterback is, and running backs and receivers and all the above. So, yeah, man, I just think that experience perspective, yes, in the quarterback position, but multiple.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now, obviously, physicality, experience, running the damn ball. I believe that was the abbreviation you had, Toss. Was that correct?
Yep.
Yeah,
That was it.
RTDB. Yeah.
Run the damn ball. Makes saying uncomfortable. Those are the reasons why we think we can get this done. But let's look at maybe the glass, not half empty, but the other side of the coin. Metcalf, we'll start with you, then Quan, then Toss, and myself. What are ways that maybe we could lose this one and Ohio State can get it done? Things to maybe watch out for as the more Longhorns.
It goes right back to something we said as to why we can win. And if Julian Sand is comfortable, if he stands back there and he's able to throw the ball to Jeremiah Smith all day, or any of the other receivers, if he's comfortable back there, then we can lose this game, because that means everything that they're doing is working, because that means they're probably running the ball, and so we're trying to stop that. And so when it's time for him to pass, whether it be a play action pass or just drop back, he's feeling comfortable. We're not getting him off his spot. And so the whole time I'm thinking, if we make this guy uncomfortable, we win this football game, just like we just spoke about. And so I think if they win this game, it's because he sat back there the entire game and was in a comfortable spot. And everybody felt good about how Hartline was calling plays. He felt like he can go out there and call any play that he wanted because it was going to work. PK has to keep them out of that in order for us to win that game. And so, like I said, we lose this game because Sam was comfortable.
Mm-hmm. Man, and I'm gonna take it. You're on the road, right? Momentum is a big deal anywhere, home, road, you name it. You go back to our playoff games, going to Washington. Well, we have 3 turnovers, a couple of fumbles, interception. You go last year, you're in the red zone, and it was kind of a desperate situation, but sack fumble to really kind of put the game away, and a few more turnovers, and hell, nobody's really talking about that. Before halftime, get off the field. It's a tie game, and we give up a house call for 75. So I really think as though we kind of have those in the last couple of years, as good as we've been and been in the mix, we've found ways to not help ourselves. Fumbling, go back to the A&M game. Interceptions, fumble in the red zone. So I think it's that, right? I think it's also, yes, make him uncomfortable, but also don't beat yourself on the road. Now, running the football and taking care of the ball can help that. If you're running it down their throat and the run game travels, and you talk about a fan base being pissed off, when you just pounding it and running it down their face, they get hot, they get annoyed, they get bored, and that's what we can do. But really, I think we take care of the ball. Turnovers in any way, form, or fashion can harm you. And if you go to the playoff, I think we're in 2 national championships if we don't have the turnovers we did.
Mm. Yeah, T.
Yeah, I think it's what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna give a backhanded compliment to the Horns here a little bit, and to our quarterback. Also, like Jordan Rodgers coming out saying that Arch Manning hasn't done anything. I do think. Guess what? Arch Manning. There's actually a decent amount of film for people to watch if you really want to dig into it, because he played last year. He played last year. I do think. And hopefully, more seasoning in this offseason, working more under the system, coming into his own, maturing as a quarterback, alleviates some of these anxieties that I have that I think could hold us back a little bit in this game. They've got a guy, Caleb Downs, who's one of the most instinctual defensive playmakers in college football. A lot of people think he's the best defensive player in college football. If we're throwing across the middle, and I know we're not afraid to with Arch, because I saw him last year as a redshirt freshman get the call from Coach Sark to be able to throw the ball across the middle. Guess what? My backhanded compliment is that not a lot of OCs and head coaches would have that level of trust in a quarterback to do that. But yet he did allow Arch Manning to play his style of offense. He wasn't like, hey, get in there and play Quinn Ewers style of offense. You go in there and you play Arch Manning style. You play Arch Manning football. You quarterback as Arch Manning. Don't be anybody else but yourself. But throw across the middle of the field, they have a lot of instinctual playmakers. They have guys that can make you pay. Ball goes through a receiver's hands, gets knocked out, whatever it is. Like, those guys can capitalize on those opportunities. And if we lose the turnover battle, it's pretty much the same thing that Quan's saying, but in particular, just across the middle of the field, linebacker like Sonny Styles, safety like Caleb Downs, 3 corners who played last year for this team in that college football semifinal, like guys that have real experience in their defensive backfield. It's just one thing I'm looking out for, and could quickly turn a game script, give them some, put them in positive field position. And then all of a sudden we're working ourselves out of a hole because they were able to score on short field. It's 10-0 because they kicked a field goal and they were able to run one in between the tackles after a turnover. That's for me, the only thing that can really hold us back. But if we take care of the football and we play our game as seemingly even as these 2 teams look from a roster standpoint, again, that experience I think gives us the edge. And I think that's why we need to win this football game. Yes, but I think we should win this football game. And I think if we don't, I'm going to have questions about things that we certainly will need to address. Because I think we're the number 1 team in the nation for a reason. So protect that.
Yeah.
Earn that, protect that,
Yeah. Before we do score predictions, I'll say, keep it simple. Like, obviously the home run's going to look slick and sexy. And if we see DeAndre Moore free as a bird out there, I'm all for, number 16 letting it fly. But really, when our offense was at its best last year with Quinn, pick them apart, run the ball 3 yards, 5 yards, 7 yards, 4 yards, 6 yards, 8 yards, bang. Just again, like really being concise, picking them apart, just digging into them and really controlling their time of possession. The way we could lose this one is if we see a 40-20 split or a 35-25 split in the wrong direction. Then I think that's a world in which we could be in a bit of trouble. So really picking them apart and keeping it simple. Again, like Toss said, we're the number one team. I don't think it may feel like at times we have a lot to prove, but we're the number one team. Everyone thinks we're the best. They deemed us the best. Just go and play the easy brand of football and get in, get out. It's about being 1-0. That's the most important number, not 50-10, right? We'll be sick. We're going to be there. Would be awesome. It'll be a heck of a trip, but at the end of the day, it's about being 1-0 in their house. So, without further ado, Kwame will go you first, then Metcalf, then me, then Toss, let you close out the show. Oh, Metcalf's first score prediction. Very exciting. Very exciting. Quan, you first, man. Score prediction.
Man, being this early in the season of, like you said, on the road, being a little more conservative, taking your shots and doing your thing, but you have two good teams. Us feeling like we're going to win doesn't change the fact that Ohio State's real too. They're number 2. We're number 1, but they're number 2. And when back in the day, we played number 3, and it was a dog fight. So I think the under is gonna prevail, and my prediction is Texas win 2013.
Ooh,
Whoa. Really?
I like that. That's in it. I did not see that coming there. What about you, Metcalf?
I would not give him my money to bet with. No question about that.
It's hilarious.
Well, I'm looking at this, and I see that Texas is the more experienced team, and I think that with the experience, especially on offense, Sark will be able to do more with his offense than Brian Hartline will be able to, because he's not familiar with saying in a game yet. Right. And so I that gives me an advantage. That gives Texas an advantage, I think. I also think that our defense, our front seven, is going to be a problem for Ohio State's offensive line. I believe that. And I think they're going to make it very uncomfortable for their quarterback. And because of that, with that in mind, my score. You're waiting. Texas, 31. Ohio State, 20.
Ooh, high scoring game.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
This one,
The over
Yeah, I
under.
think the over 47.5, right?
Over under is
Yeah.
47.5.
Yeah.
So Metcalf, after all your smack talk, it's not that much over. It's over. It's over though, so you don't have to give Quan. It's
over.
over.
Quan's is way under.
Yeah,
Way
no,
under.
way
mine's
under.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You know what? Nah. I think our defense prevails, and I think we go under too. I don't think by that as much as Q, but I think we go under. I think we get a little glimpse of the field goal unit, which is honestly would be great to see. Like I think that'd be great to see. Put our minds at ease for the rest of the season. I'm gonna go 27-17 favor of the Horns.
27-17. Okay.
Yeah, that's under. It's closer.
Just-
That's under.
That's
Just
about
under.
just like me. That's
Yeah, mine's eerily close to yours, Metcalf. Why kick field goals when you can just kick extra points is kind of my it's my thought process here.
okay.
And look, we can rough them up in the first half, but at a certain point, if we're roughing them up, that'll open things up for us. And I think then Arch can really let it fight. A part of me disagrees with you a little bit, Josh, what you're saying about like, I agree, just get in, get out with a W.
Sure.
But I think part of what we have at our disposal is Arch playing the position and what that offers for Sark and what we can do with all the bells and whistles, with for all intents and purposes, a healthy offense coming into the season. This is week 1,
Yeah.
and we're playing what might be the best defense that we're going to see the entire year, at least in the regular season. Might be. So let's go. No, we don't have to use every single play in the playbook, but I don't want to pull any punches against this team. Like, let's do what we got to do. I'm going with 35-21. I think this game can go in 3 ways. It's just why I think I'm picking this 35-21 and why I think the Horns will win this game. I can see us winning close. I can see them winning close, but I can see us winning, like I'm picking, by 14 points by 2 touchdowns. I cannot see them winning by 2 touchdowns. I just don't.
Right.
It's not
That'd be
computing
a
for me.
sad
Yeah,
Monday.
well, our defense is just too good, and we believe in them, and they proved it. I mean, at the end of the day, they won the Natty last year, and like I said, their defense scored to pull it away. It wasn't their offense, so I certainly see why you can feel that way.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I'm going
Absolutely.
35-21.
All right, fellas. Hope we're all right. So at the end of the day, hope everyone's right.
Sir.
Great show. Q Metcalf, we'll see you out there.
Yes,
Hopefully we have a great victory Monday. Oh, it's a 3-day. Is it a 3-day weekend? Yeah. 3-day weekend. So hopefully the celebration carries on. We have a really good and enjoyable victory Monday for the squad. Happy week 1 to everybody listening. Fisher, Tosopoulos, Cosby, Metcalf, get your horns up.
Can I say this real quick?
Yeah.
Go, please knock
Look,
it out.
I have to say this. I go to Cleveland for every Browns home game. I cannot listen to this all year about how Ohio State beat us. Fortunately, this past year, it was just in the playoffs. So I only had to do about a week of it. But now, this could be the entire year. I don't want to listen to that. So we got to get this done.
Yes, sir. I agree.
Now,
Let's go.
Yeah.
now
For
get
if
your horns up.
For
Now
Metcalf.
get your horns up. We'll see you guys.
Let's go, baby.
You know the boys, ESPN 102.7 Austin, horns up. We out you. We love you.